You want it? I guess that's who would have to answer it. Mr. Opie, if you don't mind, would you come to the podium and see if you can answer Dr. Brown's question? The question being, Dr. Brown, is what happens when the public schools find themselves below capacity? What is done in order to bring those schools, their numbers back up to capacity?
You mean when the enrollment drops?
Absolutely.
Oh, well, if enrollment drops, obviously their per pupil expenditure decreases because they generate funds, average daily membership from the state. So once a child is no longer a member of that particular school, they don't receive that funding. There are hard choices to make sometimes. If there are enough children, if the enrollment is dropped at enough at a school, they have to release teachers and consolidate classes. If it's significant enough, that's exactly what they do.
And sometimes, I believe, you close the school, don't you?
Yes, ma'am. Usually, yeah, that can happen, certainly.
It certainly does. So it happened in my community. So I guess...
Dr. Opie, do we have any school systems that have fallen below their capacity within the last 3 or 4 years that you know of?
Chairman, the only way I know how to answer that, and it's been kind of involved in the discussion every time we roll out new BEP numbers, there have been school systems that have either lost enrollment or did not climb as significantly as others, and they look at their BEP numbers for the next year and they say, we're not achieving as much as another system, and it's because they have actually lost enrollment. Now, when you talk about capacity, that's I see that as a little bit different of an issue, but they have to make adjustments based on the enrollment, based on class size requirements, and make some hard choices. It would be great, even when they don't have the enrollment figures, to just have a smaller class size, but they lose that money that those students generate, so they sometimes have to make tough decisions. But there are systems across the state that have actually lost enrollment over a period of years.
What I'm saying is that with that being the case, as the public school system finds itself because of economic changes, cycles, trends, with the charter school situation being as it is, if we're continuing to increase numbers here and numbers there, when the economy gets bad, everybody's having a little bit of a problem. But are we creating a cushion environment where these schools can come and get children regardless to the economic climate change that we have, and be more secure, is what I'm asking you. Now, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I don't know that we're creating a cushion environment. I do see the problem when students leave the public school setting and go into the charter school, and the funding for that student follows the child into the charter school. The public school still has to pay the same utility bills and have some of the same costs, regardless of whether they're earning dollars for the child that went to the private school or not. I don't see any situation where charter schools are a cushion, but I do see a situation where the public schools still have to maintain the class size. They've got to keep the light bills on, and there have been increases in those type things. So I can see it that way, not necessarily that the charter schools are getting some sort of cushion.
Mr. Opie, should we, in your opinion, be creating a situation where the charter schools are treated differently from the public schools, in that if they are in danger of losing their population, we create laws to give them more population just to keep them in business?
You're recognized, sir.
That's a great question, Deputy Speaker. I guess I'm going to have to say that the department and the administration supported this legislation. I have to be candid with you in that the department and the administration did not see opening up to at-risk students as a negative thing. I have to represent our administration's position as accurately as I possibly can. That may or may not be my personal opinion, but we're not interested in my personal opinion right now.
Let's repeat that. You say that neither the department nor the administration saw opening this to at-risk students as a problem.
No, ma'am. Actually, the department and the administration, in looking at all bills that come down the pike, have a series of options. We may defer on the bill, simply defer to the will of the General Assembly. We may put a fiscal note on it, as you well know, have a fiscal flag. We may have philosophical problems with the bill. But in this particular case, the administration was supportive of the bill.
Okay, is anybody from the administration here? Because I want to hear it out of their mouths. No, the governor's got his own. Well, that's what I'm talking
Where
about.
are there any
You
of the
defer,
governor's
he's
right-hand
deferring to you.
people there?
Okay.
I assume I would be representing the administration on this issue.
Okay.
Well, and I want to be there when you talk about, I want to be in the room to hear how you justify not funding the BEP2 fully, as you had said you were going to do. And what impact will all of this have? You see, now this really does concern me. Did the administration take that into consideration? Those are the issues. Because at the end of the day, we're all talking about dollars and cents. These folk wouldn't be in here if it didn't have, bottom line was not green. Would not be. Nobody's in here suggesting that they're willing to put up nonprofit kinds of dollars and run these things. They are after state dollars. I call it the raping of education, and this is what we're doing. So now I want to hear the administrations. I think we need to call them some more folk in to talk to us about some of this. I'll be happy when we get to look at the budget and the rewrite of the budget.